The harder you work for something, the greater you feel while you achieve it. So, on this note, the International says Sri Guru Gobind Singh College of Commerce presents in front of you yet another episode of Alumni Talks 21. It is a platform where we, the Team International Cell, try to provide the students with the greater insights of their plans of studying abroad by interacting with our college alumni students. Today, me, Sukhmani, along with my friend Jasmine, are here to interview one such alumni. Without delaying further, let's introduce her. She's a young and aspiring person who hasn't let this pandemic affect her dreams and goals of foreign education. So, connecting with us all the way from Manchester, England, is Miss Soumya Bharija. She's a Bcom Hons graduate from our college itself, and right now she's pursuing her master's in international business and management from one of the prestigious Russell groups, the University of Manchester, United Kingdom. So let's welcome Soumya. Hi, Soumya. How have you been?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Great. Soumya, if you're comfortable, let's start with the interview.
Sure. Yeah.
Great. Soumya, the first and the foremost question that I would like to ask you is that this world is full of opportunities and there are so many universities and colleges around the globe. What made you take up your master's in international business and management, that too in University of Manchester? And do you think it's been a good decision so far? Are you liking it? What is your take on it?
Yeah. Okay. So to answer your question, yes, I've been liking it so far. If we kind of subtract the pandemic part from it, because things are kind of hard. But apart from that, if I talk about this decision, yes, I'm very happy with the decision that I made. And I decided to pursue international business and management because coming from a commerce background, I wanted to deepen my roots and widen my horizons in the field of business and management. So, international business and management is all about how, as we all know, that the world is becoming a global village, how multinational corporations are going across borders and forming joint ventures with companies, and they are going abroad, acquiring new companies. So, like, lakhs of mergers and acquisitions take place every year. So just to get an insight about why businesses decide to go abroad and how do they go abroad, and when they go abroad, what are the challenges that they face, how do they tackle those challenges, and how do they uh, make their strategies, how do they meet their goals. So I was really curious about all these questions as an undergrad. So I decided to come for this particular degree, which is MSc International Business and Management. And if you ask me why the University of Manchester, it is one of the most prestigious universities in the world. It was established 200 years ago, and it is just to give you like some facts. It is ranked 27 in the world, and it is ranked sixth in the UK. So it is one. It was one of the dream universities, and it's an institution which has gifted the world with so many great people such as Rutherford, Niels Bohr, all the Nobel Prize winners who split the atom. Actually, fun fact: the atom was split at the University of Manchester by Rutherford and Niels Bohr. And the guy who cracked the Enigma code, Alan Turing, also did his research at the university. So it's a really good place to be at. It's really prestigious, and it has a legacy. So I really wanted to be a part of that legacy, so I decided to come here.
Right. That's so thoughtful. I'm great. I'm like so much like glad to hear that you have been able to reach where you wanted to in this pandemic too. So as you said, University of Manchester is such a prestigious university, right? And it's like a dream come true for so many students out there. So as an undergraduate student, when should one start planning and executing the entire process so their chances of getting into such a university is even higher?
Okay. So a good time to start thinking about it should be somewhere around your semester 4, when you should take a call between whether to stay back in India and maybe pursue your MBA, because I know everyone really just wants to appear for CAT.
Right.
And so that is semester 4, ideally, is the time when you should. CAT is actually much before semester 4, So if you have to like appear for CAT, that decision is to be taken much before semester 4. But if you want to come abroad, I think semester between semester 4 and 5 is the time when you should actually start researching about which country do you really want to go to, and which programs would you like to pick up, or which universities would you want to shortlist. And apart from that, if once you arrive on the decision of going abroad and shortlist some universities, a good time to apply is in round one. So I'm sure some of you are aware that there's multiple rounds of applications in universities abroad. So typically round one starts in September. So if I am to attend a university in September 2020, the applications actually open in September 2019, a year
Okay.
before that. So applying, the earlier you apply, the more the chances of you getting in, because the later you apply, the seats get filled up really quick. So the earlier you apply in a round, the more the chances of you to get through. And even about the scholarships, the higher the chances of the scholarship are if you apply earlier. So yeah.
Right. That's true. I'm sure that many students would take insights from this thing and start preparing as soon as they can, right? Come to the hot topic, as you're already speaking about the COVID. So nobody could actually foresee such a situation which is happening right now. So many nations have been affected and under lockdowns, right? So do you think this pandemic has affected your plans regarding your foreign education somehow? What do you think happened when you started to plan about all of this and you got the news? So how did you cope with all of this?
It's so, to be very honest with you, it's been difficult because no one could really foresee this. Like most of us were mentally prepared about things not going our way. I mean, the times are not normal, so I have online classes and I haven't been able to meet a lot of my professors, or a lot of my course mates. So it's definitely different than what I thought it would be. But then honestly, it's not so bad because at the end of the year I'll be coming out with a degree. So I think the decision was a right one. It did affect my decisions to some extent, but then I didn't really let it stop me from reaching where I really want to be. Because at the end of the year, when everything around me is like paused, no one is moving ahead. So at the end of the year, I'll be coming out with a degree and not wasting a precious year of my life. So that gives me a lot of relief.
Yeah, right. As you already said, that most of the things have been different right now, and we have seen so many new normals. And one of such new normal has been online learning, of course. So, what is your take on online learning? Do you think it's better, or do you think the traditional method, the live interaction in the classroom, is better? So, what do you feel about this?
So honestly, I would like to give a very balanced answer. Everything has its own pros and cons. So obviously, when you're coming abroad, you expect to attend, like go to the uni and meet different people from like different countries. For example, on my course, I have people from 30 nationalities. So you obviously expect to meet different people, and so all of that is not happening. But honestly, it's not that bad, because online learning gives you a lot of flexibility. You can take charge of your own self and watch the classes on your own pace. Maybe you can pause a lecture and return to it later at your own convenience, which is also kind of bad because at times people end up procrastinating. But if you're disciplined enough, it's not really that bad. And talking about my course or my university to be specific, the course is very well organized. We have an online platform where everything is like very well organized, ranging from the lectures, the seminars, the lab tutorials, the reading material, and other relevant announcements related to exams, or like the quizzes that happen, the presentations that take place. So everything is like really well organized. So I'm really blessed that way, that I'm not facing a lot of problems. So yeah.
Totally. living in your own comfort and attending all these things have its own pros. And as you already said, that your classroom, like your classmates and your batch, has so much diversity with people coming from so many states, right? So that's what my next question to you will be, that most people go for foreign education so that you get the exposure, you meet new people, you connect with them on dynamic backgrounds, right? So because of all this happening, you must not be doing that frequently, you must not be meeting new people, and you are all by yourself in a way in a foreign land. So does this all feel stressful to you? How are you coping with all of this?
Very good question. So, it is stressful at times, definitely, not denying that. We are still meeting people, just that the mode has changed. We are not meeting people in person, but we are meeting people on Zoom calls. So we have these really good quizzes with our classmates, and like we decide on a time, we arrange for a Zoom call, and we have quizzes, we talk to people online, and we are still working. Like we have a lot of group work in our course, like we have presentations almost every week, so we talk to people online, so we are still talking, but just the mode is different. Yes, it becomes very stressful at times, but then there are ways to keep yourself engaged. You can always pick up some hobby and read. Like you can just take this time to like re-energize yourself, to to observe things around you and to pick up some hobby, like maybe pick up some good book, or maybe maybe like discover some old hobbies. Like as school students, or maybe like as undergrad students, we used to do a lot of things which we left midway. So just picking up some hobbies such as painting, reading, or whatever interests you, pick that up and try to follow a routine. Try to have like a schedule in place so that you're more productive, and in general, like not like don't tend to like overthink about things, and you'll be good. And there are still ways to connect with your classmates and talk to them. So just that you don't have to like, don't be overwhelmed by these things, and you'll be good.
Yeah, great. This was wonderful. I would like Jasmine to take over from here.
So, up till now, it has been a very, very insightful session, Soumya. So, the next thing that I would like to ask is that in this 2020, we have witnessed really new things, new normals, I would say. Like 2020, in 2020, quarantine was a new term for all of us. Travel restrictions were new for all of us. So, since you went in United Kingdom at the time of September, so how was your experience of quarantine? Like you quarantined for 14 days. How did you spend those 14 rigorous days of quarantine? So please share your experience about that. How were those days of quarantine?
Honestly, you make it feel very scary. It was not that scary. There were some problems
Okay.
here and there. For example, the visa process was delayed. There were not a lot of flights flying from India to the UK, so that was kind of hard. The flights were really limited, so the layovers were really long. I had to spend like good 10 hours at the Heathrow airport, which was kind of draining. I had to wear a mask and a face shield for like good like 24 hours straight, but it was not that bad. When I reached, it was all worth it. So I spent those 14 days attending the welcome week that was organized by my university, and there was an induction program wherein we were told about the timetable and in general how we'll be going about the program, and about like we got introduced to all of our classmates, and we got introduced to all of our professors, and we were told about the university, the different clubs and the societies. There are like more than 250 to 300 societies and clubs at my university. So we were told about that, and I just started going through the reading material of the modules that are a part of my program. And so 14 days were like, they just like flew, like fly, the time flies. So those 14 days were like really quick. They went by like that. So it was not that difficult. It was kind of depressing initially, but then I got
Correct.
used to it. So, and I got time to like just catch up on that, on those missing hours of sleep. So it was good.
Okay, so it was nice to hear that you had a great 14 days quarantine and you didn't face any kind of issues. So that
Mhm.
was great. So another question that is in mind of every student who is going abroad is about accommodation. Like finding a good, decent accommodation, that too which fits the budget, is really hard. So how was your experience in finding a good accommodation that fitted your budget and it was a decent one? So what was the experience in getting a good accommodation? That too at the time of pandemic.
Mhm. Okay, so there are like different types of accommodations. The first one being the university halls of residence, which are offered by the university, of course. And the other ones are the private student accommodations. And there's a third option, which is you can like rent a house and share it with some people. So there are different agents, I would say, or like different organizations, such as, I'm not promoting anyone, by the way, University
Yeah, okay.
Living or Amber Student. So you just go there, you just select a budget, you just select a location, and you just like tick some of your other requirements, and you get a
Hmm.
list of different accommodations. So all you have to really do is like just apply for them online and just pay your rent. So it was like quite easy. One very useful tip is to connect with people who've stayed here and here before you, like the people who've stayed here before, so they can really tell you about which area is a good area to live in, and how far is it from your university, because it shouldn't be really far from the university, right? You cannot really spend all your time
Right.
commuting between two places. So talking to people who have stayed here before you is a very useful thing, and I did that, and it proved to be the right decision for me.
Yep. So people also choose Airbnb, I believe, like for getting some kind of temporary accommodations. So would you recommend that?
Honestly, it was not possible this year because the UK government specifically told us that you need to sort out your accommodation before traveling to the UK, because we
Okay.
had to quarantine this year. But otherwise, Airbnb is not a very bad option, but then it's kind of going to be like it kind of like burn a hole in your pocket, and it's kind of temporary. So anyway, you'll have to look for a permanent student accommodation. So yeah, some people do go for it, but I would really recommend it only if you're traveling for like a very short time and not going for your masters or like for your foreign education.
Okay. So we had a word about accommodation. So now let's move forward towards part-time jobs and the job scenario there. So like in abroad, we have witnessed the part-time job culture. Like students work along with studying in order to manage their expenses. But since the world is at standstill, so according to you, what's the job scenario over there? Are students facing any kind of difficulty in finding jobs? Are they getting any part-time jobs? Or what is the current scenario according to you?
Hmm. Okay, so this year, as it has been mentioned multiple times during the interview earlier, the times are very different. So, being in a lockdown, a lot of restaurants are shut and a lot of businesses are closing down. But there are still quite a few part-time opportunities. So there are two types of opportunities. One can be on campus, where you either assist one of your professors for some research, uh, or there are opportunities such as working at a departmental store. There's a concept of departmental stores in the UK. So
Correct.
you can either work at a departmental store, and I know people working at the till as a cashier, or maybe some people working at in the bakery section of a departmental store, or you can maybe work at a restaurant or a cafe. So this year things are slightly different, because most of the restaurants are shut, and not a lot of people are hiring for part-time jobs. But then there's another opportunities which are opening up, which is online working. So you can work from home, you can work as an
Correct.
editor, you can work as a content writer, like whatever skill you have or whatever interests you, so you can do it. In the UK, we are permitted to work for 20 hours in a week if you're on a tier 4 student visa, and during the vacations when the university is shut, you can work for 40 hours in a week. So yeah.
Okay, so that's great. So don't you think that this part-time job culture must be a new normal in India as well? Like we haven't seen teenagers working here. We are just rigorously studying and doing in our regular routine. And I'm really fascinated by this part-time job culture. So don't you think that this should be a new normal in this particular scenario? Like yes, we Indians should also start working along with studying.
Hmm. Good one. Maybe we could, but I think both the countries are very different culturally. Like I feel that our parents are very protective. They are like,
Correct.
why do you have to go out? And like we kind of like look down on some sort of jobs. Like if I start working at a restaurant or a cafe, in India, people will definitely talk behind my back, or people will definitely like look down on me. Like, what is she doing? Like she is studying at a good college, why is she working? So yeah, I think in that sense we really need to stop judging people, and we really need to like normalize things such as working part time, like part time on the side while studying. I think it's totally okay. So it would be like a good idea to
Yeah,
uh, have
a
that in
really
India.
good
it would
one.
be it would be it would be really nice to see that, but I think we'll have to convince our parents first.
Definitely. We need a major transformation for a mindset.
We definitely
So,
do.
correct. So now we'll move to a very subjective question. You might have a very different opinion, and the other person might have a different opinion. But like many students believe that while we are doing masters from an international university, then it slows us down on the road of graduation. Like many universities ask for some kind of work experience, 2 years, 3 years work experience, and I've seen 5 years work experience as well.
Mhm.
So people think that this will slow you down and your career will be, postponed. What are your plans? All these things would be a bit postponed. And so, what is your say on this? Do you think that it's a good idea for choosing masters from a foreign university?
Honestly, if you ask me, I'm studying at a foreign university. So obviously, I say it's a good decision. But then just to give you like a very balanced and an honest opinion, I don't think it slows you down in any way. Because the masters in the UK is only for 1 year as compared to countries such as the US. If I talk about the US, the masters is minimum 18 months. It ranges anywhere
Okay.
between 18 to 24 months, which is like goes up to like 2 years. But in the UK, it is just for 1 year. So I think it in fact saves you time if you talk about the UK to be specific. In fact, even in Canada, there's quite a few programs which are only for 1 year, and even as less as 9 months. I've seen masters programs even as less as 9 months. So I don't think it slows you down in any way. And about the work experience part, an MBA program does require work experience because MBA is a degree for mid career professionals. But if you talk about master's degree, for example, if I talk about my master's degrees at the University of Manchester, they do not require any sort of work experience. So it really depends on your goals, your ultimate goals. And even if it slows you down, say if someone wants to pursue an MBA from Harvard, and it requires, there's no work experience specified as such, but to have
Okay.
4 to 5 years of work experience for an MBA from Harvard is a safe work experience, I would say. So if that is your goal, go for it. I mean, how does it even matter if it slows you down, or if you are like,
Correct.
even if you're like behind your course mates or your colleagues by a few years, it really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day you're doing what you want to do. So I don't really believe in the concept of anything slowing you down, because all of us are working towards our ultimate goals every
Ultimate goal.
day. So doesn't really matter to me.
So, like, we should plan and move in a way in which it supports our future end goal. So,
Definitely,
yes,
because it is all about you in the end.
correct. So, Soumya, after your masters, what are your future plans? Like, do you plan on staying in the United Kingdom itself, or would you come back to India? So, what are your future plans after masters?
Good
Have you
question.
decided something, or is
Yeah.
it still in
Yeah. No,
progress,
no, no.
work in
I'm
progress?
I'm 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 applying for jobs. I'm applying for some graduate schemes, and I would definitely want to stay in the UK at least for a couple of years after my masters before I plan to come back to India. Like I cannot really predict for the next 5 years. but I would definitely want to stay and work here in the UK for at least a couple of years, because I think that is going to be a very good experience. It is very different from India. So I think now that I've come here, I should at least experience it for some years. And talking about the return on investment prospects, so I'm spending in pounds. And if I come back to India and start earning in rupees, the return on investment is going to be really bad. Because
Correct.
just like a quick fact, £1 is equal to 100 INR. So it's a wise decision to stay here and work here at least for a couple of years and experience how it is like to work with people from different cultures, because people from different cultures have really different work ethics and working styles. So if I work here, I'll get that exposure and that opportunity to just like widen my horizons. So I would definitely want to stay here for some time.
So since you're planning on staying in United Kingdom, so what are the conditions of being granted a work permit and PR?
Okay. So the work permit is there's like, I don't know if people are aware of this, but there's a visa. There's a 2-year post study work visa being introduced in the UK. So that is still not like on paper, but we've been told that we'll be given a 2 years post study work visa. So that will be for 2 years, and after that there's a certain threshold. So if your salary or the money that you're making is above a certain amount, after 2 years you can apply for, like after 2 years you can go for the tier 2 visa. Currently I'm in the tier 4 general student visa. So after working for 2 years, if my income is above a certain level, I can apply for the tier 2
Okay.
visa. And about the PR, in UK we call it ILR, which is indefinite leave to remain, which gives you a permanent resident status. So you can file for an ILR after staying for 5 years in the UK, and the 2 years of post study work visa do not count towards that 5 years. So 2 years of post study work visa, and then you stay here for 5 more years, and then you can file for an ILR.
Okay. Quite an insightful and long procedure, I believe. Like, need a
Yeah.
notepad to write all these things down.
Yeah.
So, definitely. So, Soumya, it was a very, very insightful session, I believe. So, before we end this talk, any advice or message for your friends and juniors back here? Any kind of suggestions you want to give? So,
Yeah. So my message would be to be really involved in college. Like, just don't go to college just for the sake of it. Be really involved in a lot of activities. Like, for example, if I talk about myself, I was involved in a lot of activities personally. I was a part of Enactus. I was a part of Rotaract Club. I was a part of Meraki, the literary society. I was also the editor of the annual college magazine, and I was also a part of the finance and investment cell, and I was also, wow, okay, I did all this. And I was
oh my
also the
God.
founding president of 180 Degrees Consulting. In like, I opened up the branch in our college along with some other people. So just like be very involved and balance it out with your studies as well, because you don't want like a 5 GPA or something, because that wouldn't,
Correct.
then you wouldn't be able to come abroad anyway. So that will be a waste. Because when you're applying abroad, you need to get your SOPs, that is your statement of purpose written, your letter of recommendations written. So you'll have a lot of content to talk about, like you'll have a lot of things to talk about in your SOP. And these universities abroad want to see individuals who are well-rounded individuals. They just don't want to see your grades. They also want to see that you
Correct.
were involved in sports or some hobbies or some volunteer work or some internships. So just gain some relevant work experience through internships and be involved in college. That would be my only advice. And
Because
if
overall
possible,
personality matters, right?
definitely. And especially if someone's applying for Oxford, Cambridge, or London Business School, those are like the top three in the UK. So if you're applying for that, make sure that you maintain a GPA of 8.5 plus. I didn't do it, but my advice would be that if at all you, because these are things that someone doesn't really tell you, people just randomly think that I want to go abroad, I'll appear for my GMAT and I'll go. It's not like that. Because you need to maintain a GPA of like an overall GPA of 8.5 plus if you're applying for such premier institutes such as like Oxbridge. So that would be my advice. Balance out things and be very involved in college, and like just grab opportunities as they come your way. If you get an internship opportunity, go for it. If you can be a part of any society, go for it. If you can participate in more and more competitions, go for it. So like just don't say no to any opportunities. That would be my advice.
Become a go-getter and grab opportunities. That's it. Yeah. So, okay, everyone, this was Soumya Bharija joining us all the way from United Kingdom. Soumya, I would like to thank you for your valuable time. I'm sure that this experience will help many students who are currently stuck in dilemma. On this note, we would end this episode of Alumni Talks 2021. I would like to thank everyone on behalf of International Cell, Shri Guru Gobind Singh College of Commerce, to view our video. If somehow our initiative has helped you, then please like, comment, and share this video so that it reaches maximum students. Also, follow us on our Instagram and social media handles for more such valuable content. Thank you so much, Soumya, once again for joining with us.